Okay, so let's get started talking about like doing your own thing at the holidays, right? Should is a word we are inundated with all the time, but especially at the holidays, right? You should go to this family dinner. You should go to this party with your friends. You should go to your office holiday party. Should is used to indicate an obligation or a duty. What I don't understand is how it's used because it is always used in terms of, especially those of us who are childless, it's always used in terms of it's like one sided. You should go. Why isn't it a two-way street? Why isn't the person who is expecting you there? Why isn't there an obligation? Why shouldn't they? Why is there no should for them? That they should have an understanding that this may be painful for you. Or why isn't there a should for them to make sure that if they are inviting you and want you someplace, why don't they make sure you are feeling welcome and included? Right? How many times have you gone to family dinners and everybody doesn't just pair off, but like family off, group off, right? And then you're there without the traditional family and you're feeling isolated and alone. Why isn't there a should on the part of the host to make sure that doesn't happen? And there are ways to have a family dinner, a friend gathering, whatever it is, and make sure it's inclusive so no one feels set apart. Um, and then why isn't there a should for the people who are inviting you that they should make sure the conversation isn't a painful one for you, right? Make sure that Aunt Libby is not saying the hurtful things that she always says that you've said over and over again. This is hurtful. Please don't say this, right? So, why is the should one way? You should go. But there's never a should on the part of the host or the person inviting you or the person expecting you to go with them. But now you may be at a point where you're ready to say, I'm doing what I need to for myself. But here's where the big problem comes in guilt. You feel guilty for prioritizing yourself. It's so common. It's not you, it's women especially. And I think it's time to change that. So I don't think there's anything wrong. In fact, there's everything right about saying no to invitations. There's everything right about saying no to the usual gatherings that you are expected to go to, right? Because they can be painful and or just maybe not necessarily specifically painful but not fulfilling. And so it's time to change that guilt that you feel for saying no, for honoring yourself and taking care of yourself. So the first step in this is to recognize something, and that's that you matter. So the first step is actually to ask yourself, do I matter? Not me, not asking if I do, but asking yourself, hey, self, do I matter to me? If your answer is no, then please DM me so we can chat after. And if your answer is yes, I matter, then yay, that is a huge step. Okay? That's a huge step in getting past the guilt and taking care of yourself. The next step, though, is recognizing that not everyone else will be on board. Sometimes it's whoever invited you, whoever the host is, but sometimes it's also someone that you normally go to things with. It could be a spouse, a partner. It could be a friend that you always do the holidays with. It could be a relative that you always go with. And they might not be in the same place as you. Even if they are also childless, not by choice, that doesn't, we're all in different places in this. We all deal with it differently. They may not be in the space where you are, where this is something they don't want to go to, where this is something that's painful for them, or they may just totally not understand where you're coming from. So that is the next hurdle, is dealing with the people, particularly the people that you would go with, dealing with those people and when they're not on board. Okay. And also dealing with if the host isn't on board, if they are giving you a hard time, or why can't you go? So this creates the need for something that's really challenging for a lot of people, and for me as well. And I have worked on moving past that, but it's having the difficult conversation. So, how do you do that with someone who you love? Or sometimes it's not necessarily someone you love, if it's a host that you feel an obligation to. Um, but you start with being direct. But being direct doesn't mean being rude or hurtful or insulting. So you have to choose your words carefully and use specific examples. For example, it causes me pain when Aunt Libby says X, Y, and Z. It triggers the memory of, or it triggers that painful reaction that I'm alone. Whatever it is, be very specific about it. Don't beat around the bush. Don't assume, oh, when I say it's painful to go, they're going to know why. Be specific and, and say it in a respectful, direct way. And explain why it takes away from the meaning of the holiday, but not just takes away from the meaning of the holiday. You can also explain that it takes away from the relationship, and that by not going, this is preserving the relationship because you're honoring yourself. At the end of all of this, you may have to agree to disagree. Okay, that the other person, whether it's the host or a partner, a friend or family member, they may still not be able to put themselves in your shoes. And you can be honest with them and say, I get it. You're not in my shoes. I'm not in your shoes. Let's agree to disagree and be respectful of each other's choices. Okay. And then when you've gotten to that point and you've decided, yep, I'm not going, something to consider doing is opting out of texts and emails and WhatsApp messages or wherever else the messages are coming from. Opt out or forward them to your partner, if it's coming from your in-laws. But why aren't you coming? We want you there. Forward it to your partner if it's your in-laws or whoever it is. Or save it for a time when you feel able to answer, or don't answer at all. Okay? You are not obligated to be on 24/7. You don't have to make yourself available whenever they say, hey, answer me. But also, you may also want a canned response to everything. Like, this isn't something I want to discuss now. Or, I'm really in pain. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to take care of myself. Whatever the wording is, again, no matter what they say, you want to be respectful, okay, in your response. You may want to have something already typed out, like in a note or wherever, that you can easily copy and paste, that will also give the message, this conversation is over. This thread is over. I'm not answering anymore. Again, in a respectful way. Although for some people, and I have some people in my circle where that has to be very explicit. I'm done answering. Okay. Because not answering just keeps the dings keep dinging, dinging, dinging because they just keep texting. So sometimes it gets to a point where I have to say, I'm done with this conversation. I'm not answering anymore. And if you continue, I'm going to block you. There's nothing wrong with that. You are not being rude in letting them know that they're being rude, because they are if they keep pushing you. So there's nothing wrong with getting to that point of saying, I'm done, or just not answering if that will stop them. Okay. So again, you may have to agree to disagree. And also recognize that you can celebrate in more than one way. So maybe you do want to go to whatever it is you're invited to, whether it's like the lunchtime office party or, friends getting together, whatever it is. Maybe you do want to go, or you only want to go for part of it, or you don't want to go at all. You can mix it up. You can celebrate in different ways. And by celebrating, I don't mean, oh, woohoo, a big party. Celebrating means finding, experiencing this in a meaningful way. It doesn't mean you have to be partying. So when I say celebrate, please don't assume I'm meaning like this big, happy, joyful, partying experience. It can mean, meaningful may mean sitting on the couch and binging on Netflix. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So you can mix it up. You can go to some things. You can go to that lunch time work party. You can go for part of it, and you can also do your own. Maybe there's a couple friends from work that you want to do things with outside of the big group because that's painful. Set up your own time with them, but mix it up. There's no one right way to do things, and it's okay to start new traditions. But I often get asked, well, how do you do that? Okay, so here's some easy steps to take to start new traditions. The first is make a list of the things you love to do and think outside the box. It doesn't have to have a theme of a holiday, and it doesn't have to be a major activities. Like this doesn't have to be, oh yeah, I want to travel the world. I mean, that may be on your list, and maybe that's something you will do, but it also may not be doable for you. It can be big or small, your favorite things to do. For me, one of my favorite things to do is sit on the couch next to a lit candle and wrap myself in a blanket. That's not a major activity. It's not like a big celebration, but for me, it's one of my favorite things to do, and it is so comforting for me. So make a list of the things you love to do, big and small, outside the holiday box. And then next to each one, write your reason for why you love to do that. That will help you with the next step, which is to rank them, with one being the thing you love to do the most. Okay? With that, with your ranking, now you can pick the top ones. That's gonna, how many depends on you. I say rank your top 3, but it will depend on what you can fit in both time wise and energy wise. Maybe there's one thing you can do, or maybe there's 10 things that you feel able to do. But pick your top however many, and then strategize how you can incorporate that into the holiday season. It doesn't have to be on the holiday. It can be on multiple days, but incorporate those favorite things that will bring you a sense of comfort, maybe even a sense of joy. And let me really emphasize that staying in is absolutely perfectly okay. Right? We are told all the time you're supposed to be do, go, go, go. Go get outside and be social. And if you don't, if you stay home, it's like people make it sound like there's something wrong with you. No, there's not. There's nothing wrong with you if what energizes you, what gives you comfort, is staying in. Now, I'm saying this as somebody who is a homebody. My favorite place to be is home. My favorite place at home is on the couch with my dogs, okay, and my husband. But he will tell you he knows the dogs come first, okay? So there is absolutely nothing wrong with staying home. There's also nothing wrong with experimenting. Try different things. If you have 5 things you want to get done that you want to do for the holidays that will feel good to you, but you may have to change them up to see, like, oh, maybe this isn't so good. Oh, maybe this one is really, I love doing this. There's no right or wrong. It's really what serves you and your heart and your needs. Okay, so to recap, first of all, big step is to recognize that you matter. Okay, that it is okay to say no to the things that don't serve you. The second next is to, if this is affecting someone else, whether it's because a host you're saying no to, or it's someone who would be going with you, have a direct but respectful conversation with specific examples of how this is hurtful to you, how it doesn't serve you, and how it actually serves both of you better to keep your relationship healthy if you're not forced to and guilted into doing something that hurts you. Remember, you don't have to answer texts and emails and whatever messages, or you can have a stock answer ready that you can copy and paste to let them know, stop, I'm not answering this anymore. Okay. Remember, at the end of all of this, you may have to agree to disagree, and that's okay. Be respectful of each other, and know that you can celebrate in more than one way. Maybe you do want to go to some things for the holiday or part of things, and you can also start new traditions. And how you start new traditions is to write down your favorite things to do, right next to them why they are your favorite things to do, why you love doing these things. Rank them and then incorporate that ranking into your schedule, both time wise and energy wise. Remember, it's okay to stay in, and also remember, it's not just okay to take care of you, it's necessary to take care of you. All right, I hope this has been helpful. Send me messages if you have questions, if there's something you want to talk about, if there's things you want me to bring up in later lives, because I am going to continue this weekly through December 26th. Each week a different topic that's related to being childless not by choice during the holiday season. So next week I am going to be talking about triggers and how you deal with those during the holidays. All right.